Minister, members of the head table, I would just like to commend the team for taking the initiative of coming to address a very serious or some very serious matters in relation to our life and to the future of this land. We would like, through your ministry, as the legal representative of all of Guyana's natural resources, to take very serious consideration as to any development programs being proposed in the forest, not only in the Rupununi but the entire country. In the LCDS, in the Millennium Development Goals, it is for sustainable development. For sustainable development, you need everybody's input, you need to educate people so we can all be on the same level of development. However, as indigenous people, we have our own systems of how we access natural resources and how we manage natural resources. And it is proven throughout the world. Where you go, you can find indigenous people's land are very intact, free from contamination and pollution. So it is of this standard of development that we would like to propose to the Honorable Minister of Natural Resources and Environment that any developmental program, for example, the recent lottery, should be of the free prior informed consent consultative process with our indigenous communities. We have been working since 2000 on a resource mapping project being done first by the Deep South community to show and to see how we use our natural resources. What are some of the main uses that we do in the forest? And the map, it is now being completed to be used by communities. And Honorable Minister, we have tried during the launching of our management plan to meet, but we met with your permanent secretary and Mr. Damian Fernand. But these maps can help the Guyana Land Conservation Commission, and I've been talking to Mr. Wayne on this issue, as to how we can incorporate the indigenous people's knowledge into Guyana's maps. It's going to help the country so much in terms of accuracy and in terms of names. From then to now, we in the South Central also did a mapping project. Because like Mr. O'Connell said, this land was claimed in 1965, 1966 by an intensive consultation with our communities that some of these two shows, so a lot of these residents were part of village public meetings where we agreed how we intend to care for our resource use areas, our hunting areas, our fishing areas, our farming areas, our waters, our mountains, our forests, our savannas, our bush islands. How do we intend to continue to care for these areas based on our customary value and traditional use? And that document, with intensive consultation, is the document I'm referring to. In this document, you can see all our extensions, and this map of our extensions was created through in-depth consultation by community to community, inter-community meetings, having inter-community agreements. So please, I would like the Real Ministry to honor the work that indigenous peoples are doing. See how we can incorporate a lot of our plans into the national plan. And you mentioned in this next meeting in July, I don't think you should just call it two shows, Honorable Minister. I would like to recommend that we have resource persons, we have organizations like the Panuco Mountain Community Representative, we have the South Central People Development Association, we have a lot of organizations here that are working for the development of indigenous people. And if we can have dialogue like this, positive dialogue, I am sure that we can do better for the present and for the future generations to come. Thank you. Nicholas Pedros, Shurina Village President of the South Rupununi Conservation Society and Program Coordinator for the South Central People Development Association.
and gentlemen, my name is Mr. Putin Soknat, the President of the Amazon Tropical Bird Society, Honorable Minister, my question here is that, these areas for this last week, we are vulnerable, near threatened, and globally threatened species in these areas, occur in these areas. What are the plans for these birds in these areas? How can we pretend to promote border tourism and the LCDS? How can we do this way? Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Where are you from? Where are you from? Thank you. Miners Association. Good day to every one of you. Honorable Minister, members of the head table, special invitees, people of Deep South, Charlton and Central. I wish to say that I'm very much pleased today here to see that we have this type of dialogue and discussion here with our Honorable Minister and members from the various organizations. That is what we needed, because from the Rupununi Miners Association perspective, the first day last year when the minister went to Lethem at St. Ignatius Binab, that is where he said that he needs to have dialogue and discussion with organizations. And that was what, at that day, propelled the formation of the Rupununi Miners Association based on his advice. Because at that day, on that day, he said that he doesn't have time to speak to 4,000 miners. But if they come and speak to him with a body, he will be listening to them because he will address their issues. On that day, the Maruri miners made representation to him, as he rightly said, that the problem was addressed since that time. To look at the question of lands being released for miners in Rupununi. And he made that commitment when it was represented here that to look at the Romax Mining Company with an understanding to have dialogue and discussion with them to see whatever way he can get land released there for miners. And that was a good promise. Also, he promised to look at the question of releasing state land. Unfortunately, 5 months passed and we did not get any reply. So we took it on ourselves from the miners' perspective, Miners Association, to write him and remind him about what he undertook at that meeting. His response, I have all the letters here, his response to, he said that he will be looking at the question of lottery, which was very good, and our spirit rises that on that letter basis. Now, it took a long time. We are representing ourselves always to get land. Lands what we want. So it took till in December that we did not get any lottery in place. And so we said to ourselves, the miners, that we should write a petition, submit a petition to let us have land in respect to the Romanex Mining Company. Because the Romanex Mining Company were flouting most of the conditions that is signed in terms of the agreement that is signed with the government. And so we asked since then for a review of that, for them to relinquish some land so that miners can get land to work. Now our petition actually fell on deaf ears, because we did not have a response from the Honorable Minister. We only had one response from the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs, and when we got that response by way of letter to say that she, as the minister, her ministry wishes
that this problem be settled in the interest of all parties concerned. I have everything here. And so we felt nice that we are going to get somewhere. But we didn't get anywhere. So we were running out of land, and we are not getting any answer concerning our petition. Even the GGDMA supported us by way of a letter, supporting us in our petition. Afterwards, we don't know why they withdrew, but they withdrew because of certain forces. Anyhow, we could live with that. We took our battle there. We saw it fit to gain attention because we are not getting attention. We were not getting attention. And so we saw it fit some of the miners said to get attention. We are going to raid this land because these people are not doing anything on the land. They have not produced for over 30 years. And the land is being left idle. They are not contributing towards any development towards the economy of this country. So to highlight our problem, a couple miners went there with, and that was where the big fiasco went on. We are being blamed, yes, the illegal miners, one set of things we are being branded as. That we do not sell gold to gold board, and it is not so. The miners who work there sell, if you call them illegal men. Miners sold their gold to gold board and licensed buyers, and that was proven. I must say thanks to the minister that after the Rupununi incident, and we went there to a meeting. When we had discussion there with the Honorable Minister, some very positive things came out from the meeting. A press release which was made, and it is in there, in that flyer there, that pamphlet there just now that they shared out. And we agreed to all those 4 conditions, because one of the utmost topical point was for us to be cooperating with the GGMC, the Natural Resource Ministry, and the RNA to wipe out illegal mining, which we agreed and which we will fight our ways to wipe out illegal mining. Whether that we were there because we had wanted to show them that our problem must be addressed. And so therefore, if we are wrong at that time, and we are here to work cooperatively with the Natural Resource Ministry and the GGMC to end the illegal mining. Because that is what came out of the meeting. What's that to say? At that meeting, the Honorable Minister said that he likes people to be developed. Ordinary folk knuckles should elevate themselves, which was a welcoming thought, so that our miners can develop. And so therefore, they gave us a lottery, and at that meeting the Honorable Minister said, and I have no, I have no intention to degrade our minister, but I wish to say that at that meeting he mentioned that we will be giving 25 blocks of land as priority in the lottery. This is what he said at the meeting. And so we were very, very much pleased. He asked, he delegated, I'm glad he's here, Mr. Donald Singh, that he delegated Mr. Donald Singh to work on the mechanics of the lottery with the Rupununi Miners Association. I stayed there for 4 more days to get this worked out with Mr. Donald Singh. But sad to say, but afterwards, when the GGDMA wrote in the newspapers and were against the minister for doing that, I'm not saying that what he said today is wrong, because he cleared it up today and said that we must have to work within the law and all these things pertaining to the mining in this country. But what I'm saying is that that could have said, afterwards calling us to say, you know, we can't do this. Probably I got too heated that day and tell you this. Best was in what way he can help us. But I wish to make it clear not to let the Rupununi Miners Association look at stupid people too. Because it said the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission registration for participation in lottery for special mining permits in Marudi area. This is what printed here. Mr. Danny Singh worked it out. Now if you take this form and look at the other form that they signed, it is not so. So I got this from there. And I do not want to lambaste them, but I appreciate the explanation that the minister said that probably the people could have taken them to go and it is not wise. I do appreciate the explanation after the year. But just that I wanted to clear up these things. Now in respect to mining, I want to say that presently in this area, in this region of Manai, we stand to lose a lot if mining is not being taking place in Marudi. Marudi is the breadbasket of this region. Presently, the Mulgraven farm is here and put out all the mountain men who used to over 30 years working in their little holes and get money to come out here and spend. I am saying that the Mulgraven company, because of what the minister told us when we had a meeting, that he doesn't know much about the Mulgraven company at that meeting. He will have to look at it and Romanex and review their license, which was very, very good on the part of the minister. And they have did that. They have done that. But in respect to the other lands that when they review it, that were released, I'm of the firm opinion if mining has to take place in Marudi, those 2,000 acres must be given to the villages around here, because the villages need to develop their standard and way of life through the income of mining. Also, they must also look at the question if the Mulgraven company has satisfied all the requirements in terms of for them to do mining, alluvial mining to be done. Now, I don't know much about it, but the minister is well aware that all foreign companies have to do large-scale mining. And so the alluvial mining there, I don't know if the Mulgraven company has satisfied all the... Because I'm saying that the GGMC sent in a team which was in the newspapers, that when they went in there to Marudi, they found that nothing was being done, and when they find out in the GGMC office that if there is a work plan, the statement was that not in the near future any mining could have been done here. And no work plan has been submitted. Suddenly, really nothing. Now, suddenly the Mulgraven company has gone in with the equipment and they are working here. And putting up poor people who are making a living all the years. This entire region has to lose, whether directly or indirectly, from mining not being performed in Marudi. So I am asking the Honorable Minister to look at these questions and to see if everything is in place for the Mulgraven company. Because the Mulgraven company has not even consulted the villages around here. And they're not even... And so there is gross respect for the villages around here. The villages must be consulted by any firm who come in there, because their equipment will have to pass through their villages. They have to have discussion, dialogues, and to see whatever the villages will be benefited from in terms of the company. And so therefore these are things that I'm asking the Honorable Minister to look into, because we need to earn a living in this region. And this region and Marudi owes us a living, because Marudi is the breadbasket of this region. Also, I wish to say that the minister and the Natural Resource Ministry should look at the question if these companies do not fulfill all their requirements in terms of financial requirements. It is in the Mining Act. If the company is not viable financially, the government has the right to rescind the agreement. If a firm has PL, like that other two and after 1 year, 10% relinquishment of land. Now, because of our struggles here at Marudi, whether fortunate or unfortunate, it brought life to move the ministry to review the Rupununi company. And so you see, without a fight, you can get nowhere. Because when you have a dialectical law, unity and struggle of opposites, which my minister knows quite well, that wherever there is a conflict, you will have development. And so that I want to say to you all, that was a conflict, and look at today we are having development out of the conflict. Look at the conflict there, demonstrating outside here, and what happens out of the conflict. You are having development. And so therefore that confrontation is for a just cause. I don't want people to see me, I'm always a PPP person. And all the person probably, because of this fight, badly me otherwise. No, my heart is clean and I fight for the people's interest. Thank you very much.
I think before we wrap up, let's ensure and assure you that all the comments, suggestions made, we've taken note of it. And I don't want to go into a reclarification of events as described by my good friend Sugrim. So I leave certain things alone. But just to say that the review of Romanex in fact started in 2011, December 2011, long before any of this happened. And it had to go through a very thorough legal process. It's just that you had a convergence. That's just for the facts. Second thing I want to make it absolutely clear, we will not tolerate any raiding in Marudi. We will not tolerate any raiding, any illegal activity. So if someone wants to prove a point or to get attention, that is the wrong place to go. We will not tolerate that. There's a mechanism that has to be followed. Those who have shops, I know Ms. James, one of those whose shops or so was also removed, and I can understand persons feeling aggrieved, but we need to maintain our laws, we need to maintain our system, and there will be opportunities for persons to participate in a legal and in an orderly manner. But we cannot have any excuse for anyone to flout, violate, and we have to be clear whether or not we want mining or we don't want mining too. We also have, and that's why I do hope when we have the session in July, we can talk through some of these issues, and we will involve some of the other groups. I'm not excluding any group. We will include other groups so that we can continue. I don't see today as an end. I see it as a continuation of discussion, and that's what I want. So I know there are many more things that all of us want to say. These are very important. We've taken note. They'll be very informative as we move through, as we go to July and beyond, in how it is we address these very important, very sensitive, but very crucial issues in a very respectful and very... I'll have my good friend Tushau Yvonne Pearson to have the final say before we leave, but I want to thank you for your positive response. I want to thank you for your involvement. I want to thank you for being here. And certainly we look forward to this level of engagement as we work together. It's all about working together. Thank you again. The final word, people.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. And brothers and sisters, I wish to respond to a couple of things. And I wish to respond to Ms. James Doherty, who said that I don't have the people at heart. That is not so. That is not so. I wish to make this quite clear. strategy. You have to change the strategy. So it's not that I don't have the people at heart. First and foremost, I have the indigenous peoples at heart because the blood runs in my veins. But we have laws of the land. And therefore, as citizens of this country, we are also expected to abide with the laws. I would like to talk about, she mentioned the village council did not respond to their calls. I would want to say as a council, a village council, and I'm speaking from years of experience as a Tushao, the village council is responsible for the proper administration of the village. And therefore, I would advise that if a group, whether it's the youth group, the church group, the women's group, would ask for a meeting, it is only fair that the council listen to what they have to say. Because of course, whether you're the church group, the women's group, the farmer group, the logging group, whatever group, you are part of the village. Right. So I would like to say that. On the issue of, and you know I'm passionate about land too. All indigenous people I guess are passionate about land. And I want to say wherever there are indigenous people in this world, we have an issue with land. However, you can disagree with me, but I'm saying in Guyana, our rights to land are recognized. That is what I'm saying. And you can disagree with me. But the mere fact that we have title land areas, and you heard from the minister this morning, some of the things that should not happen within our title areas.
Yes, that is what I want to talk.
And I use the word should not. That is why we have village councils, that if something contrary is happening, there are forums that you can bring it to. That is what I like to do. With regards to extension, and I want to go back directly to Ishansal extension. You heard I said this morning that this letter was received, but I have in front of me here the response from GLSE, which says they cannot prepare the map because we have not given a description or a sketch map. So in some cases, we the people are at fault too. And I know we have mapping experts in this village. And so the question is why? I want to talk a little more on land. Our history. Our history in Guyana is we are the first peoples of this country. And our government recognized that. Our government recognized, I'm saying our government, whether we like them or not. They recognize us as the first peoples of this country. But I want to be honest and plain and clear. As the first peoples of this country, it is in our head still, 83,000 square miles, we are the first people, and according to international law, which I can read out to. However, this morning, we heard the song, one people, one nation, one destiny, land of 6 people. And we must take that in mind. There is enough land for all of us in this country. You can disagree with me, but I'm saying there is enough land for all of us. And we must be real. We must be real. I am not against extension, so don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I am not against extension. No. But guess what? If we are going to say, disagree with me, I don't have a problem with that. If we are going to say, Patamola territory, Wapishana territory, and Arapuna, of course the Caribou want our territory too. And the Arawaks. So we have to be reasonable. We are 6 nations. Indigenous nations I'm talking about in this country, but we also have, we are 9 nations, sorry, to be a little careful, and we have to think carefully when we start talking about our ancestral and traditional lands. We've got to be careful. As I said before, there is enough land for all of us. I just want to say we have to be careful when we start talking about traditional and ancestral lands. That is what I would like to say. However, yes, the Ministry of Indian Affairs support the extension of lands. And so I wish to say through the process, especially the area where mining are taking place, it is important for the team to go there, to talk with the people, and I want to touch on kids. It said that these things should have happened. Kids, yes, it should have happened. Many things should have happened many years ago, but it did not happen. It did not happen. However, steps are taken now for those things to happen. And we should acknowledge that. We should acknowledge that, yes, things are now happening. We wanted to happen 20 and 30 years ago. It did not happen. But you know what? It is happening now. And therefore, that is why I say we have to change our strategy. This is not a fight no longer with arrow and bow. That was a thing for long ago. That must change. And we got to know that we have to be able to negotiate. Whom do we negotiate with? Don't let us get carried away. In everything, as I said, law is there to guide us. And in everything there is a government. And you would say, well, she talked PPP now and all kind of things. Say what you want. I still believe in my right. And the place is that we have to now talk to government. We have to be able to talk to our ministers. We have to be able to talk to our president. We have to come around the negotiation table and let GGMC and GLSC and let us talk. And that is the only way. That is the only way we can address some of the issues, or many of the issues that are affecting our people. And so I would like to say, wherever in this world you have indigenous people, there are issues. And land issues don't settle overnight. We have to talk about it. And in human rights, of course, as indigenous people, we have a right. But other people also have their rights. And as such, we must be able to respect the rights of others. Our other brothers and sisters who are not indigenous like us, we came here whenever, however, whatever. But there are other people who came to this country, our country, the country that all of us love so much, by all sorts of means. Some so inhuman that we don't even want to talk about it. And therefore, they also have a right in this country. So in putting all together, the only way we can move forward is by talking. And so we appreciate your comments here today. And don't ever feel that I don't care for you. I am now with the Ministry of Indian Affairs, and my job is to talk to Honorable Minister, talk to somebody, so that now we can all talk. And so that we can continue to move forward, because more than anything else, we want development like any other group. And so today I'm happy that I came, and I do hope that we can continue to talk, and we must be reasonable.